So, you know that this is August, but did you also know that August was Black Philanthropy Month? Yeah, I didn't know that either, but we're going to learn a whole lot about it from somebody who knows about philanthropy. Mark Lewis from the POISE Foundation, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Black Philanthropy Month, it's been in existence for a while. It's a new phenomenon. What is it?
Right. So since 2011, a woman named Jackie Copeland Carson started Black Philanthropy Month as a way to highlight philanthropy within the Black diaspora. So it's not a United States, it's not a local, it's a global initiative. And the whole idea was to educate, to inspire, and also to show Black philanthropy throughout the globe.
So, what happens here in Pittsburgh during the month of August?
Sure. So,
You know, stop that for
Yes.
just a second, because I'm taking the assumption that everyone knows what the POISE Foundation is.
right.
Let's, just in case there's someone out here who doesn't know what the POISE Foundation
great segue. So POISE Foundation is an African American community foundation. We've been located here in Pittsburgh and born in Pittsburgh since 1980. So about another year and a half, we're going to celebrate our 40th anniversary in Pittsburgh. And so Black Philanthropy Month is just something that's natural to us, right? So Black philanthropy is something we do on a daily basis. And again, as you mentioned, a lot of people don't know about August as being Black Philanthropy Month. And a lot of people don't really understand philanthropy that takes place in the Black community, which goes back, I don't even know if we can date philanthropy going back in, through Africa and even how far back that goes. But we do philanthropy similar to others, but in many ways different. And so Black philanthropy within the Black community is giving to each other through different ways. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's our time, sometimes it's housing people that need help in different ways, giving clothes. So I think the misnomer is that philanthropy is something that the uber wealthy do, right? So
Well, that's what I think it is. People hear philanthropy, and it's kind of like savings. They always say, oh, I don't have any extra money for that.
Right. And I think in Pittsburgh it's different because we are a region that is blessed with large foundations, which most communities across the country do not have.
Right.
But we're also blessed to have one of the only Black foundations in the community as well, or in the country as well. But if you look at a lot of the giving statistics, the average donation in this country is probably still under $250. And so philanthropy is something that is done by everyday individuals, or can be done by everyday individuals. And I think, just the way things take place, so often we, see the wealthy, because that's what's highlighted, and we think they're the ones that do philanthropy. So we're looking for Oprah, we're looking for, again, extremely rich, and looking at what they do and say, we can't do that.
Yeah, you hear $1 million, oh yeah, well I can't do that,
Exactly.
so I think I can't do it at all.
Right. But again, if you think about the average donation being $250 in this country or less, that means there's opportunities for everybody. And what we try to talk about at POISE Foundation, and the way we started, was really by average individual gifts. So we did not have a wealthy benefactor that created the foundation. I think you may have known Bernie Jones,
I did know Bernie.
who was an icon in Pittsburgh. And his whole theory was, how do we come together as everyday, ordinary people, putting small amounts in a pot? Right. So back in the late 60s and 70s, they raised $100,000 by simply having fundraising events, small dinners, what they called a solid-a-rama back then.
Right.
People would come and pay and donate for that.
Yeah,
and
for
if you can
peanuts
think
salad.
about, right. And if you can think back in the 60s and 70s, $100,000 is worth a lot more than it is today. But again, the idea is that even in Pittsburgh, so if you just look at the Black community in the Pittsburgh region, our household income is just a little under $4 billion a year, right? And so if we took just...
You know how they rewind that?
Rewind that?
Say that again?
So Black household income in the Pittsburgh region is just under $4 billion a year, right? So if you look at the average household, our average household is somewhere between $45,000 and $50,000 of income.
Okay.
But if you add that up, right, if we think about it as a collective, there's some power there, right?
Absolutely.
The problem is that we typically operate in individual households instead of thinking about what power could take place if we collectively brought our philanthropy, right? And so if you think, and this is a stretch, but if we, as just the Black community alone, put 1% of their money into a pot, right, that's almost $40 million a year that we could then reinvest in our communities the way we thought best, right? And that $40 million is more than we get from all the foundations in this region combined, right? And probably a good bit more or comparison to what the government really does as far as helping enhance us versus just funding our survival.
Right. So here's what strikes me when you break it down like that. That's like a no-brainer. Like, why isn't everybody doing this?
Right, right. And that's, I think, one of the issues is that we've lost a sense of community. So if you think when we were growing up, it was natural to give. It was natural if you needed something, either to borrow it. We say borrow, you may not ever give it back, get that particular thing back. But if I borrowed something from you, later on you would borrow something from me, right? And that's just the way philanthropy worked. As our communities have broken down and we've been spread out all over the place, we don't have those same relationships. And so now philanthropy needs to look a little different, right? And so I often talk about a logical community. Even though we don't all live in the same neighborhoods, doesn't mean that we can't still have very good relationships, and does not mean that we still can't put money into a pot that can then be dispersed and reinvested in our communities where we need it the most.
So the bottom line is folks need to get in touch with the POISE Foundation.
That would be great.
Real simple.
That's the bottom line.
Cut to the chase there.
Yeah. And so one thing that we are going to be doing going forward, hopefully towards the end of this year, but definitely next year, and then in 2021 we'll be celebrating again our 40th anniversary. We know that we need to market POISE Foundation in a much greater way, throughout the community and throughout really the region, to let people know about this vehicle, about what it can be. And again, we think from the idea that when you invest in us, you're reinvesting in the community. So if you invest in POISE Foundation, you're reinvesting.
Best place to get information on the website?
Website is great, www.poisefoundation.org. So going back to your original question, as part of Black Philanthropy Month this year, one of the things that we have done is launched a campaign. It's called, it's actually #1HourForPoise. And what that's about is during the month of August, we kicked it off, but we want this to continue on, is to get as many people as possible to donate 1 hour of their salary to POISE Foundation.
Okay.
Right? And again, that's something that is doable for anybody.
Yeah, that's doable, yeah. Awesome. Give us the website again.
www.poisefoundation.org. If you go to the website, there's a banner on top. You can click that and it'll give you more information about.
An hour salary. That's it. We'll be back in just a minute and wrap all this up.